viable means of offense or defense. I pulled myself from my thoughts, then turned to Jarvis. "I think it's time we launched it," I said with a smile. I'd been trying to find a good time to try out this experiment for a while. This felt like it to me. "Understood, sir." Jarvis bowed his head, and I teleported us over to the side of the fort nearest the mountains. A platform reminiscent to the rocket launch pads back on Earth lay there, with fumes from liquid nitrogen cooling the rocket that was prepared and ready to go. Sitting at the top of the rocket was another mithril-coated shelled core. I didn't know what to expect in a universe with monsters, so it wouldn't have surprised me if there'd been some sort of space tentacle monster out there. The mithril alloy coating would make sure it was protected. Once I established a geocentric orbit, then I could worry more about defenses that might need to be prepared. It was far easier to build an escape velocity vehicle when I could build a seamless structure, as well as use magic for some of the systems. I was able to use some magic scripts to create barriers and cooling for the outer layer. With the way it was constructed, the vehicle would actually be able to leave the planet and return as long as it didn't run out of mana. Seeing the vessel made me recall Earth's attempts to get to space. Earth was close to having a space elevator, thanks to the work of a man named Elon from a few decades before my time. But, thanks to me, that had never come to fruition. Not much reason to go to space when high-energy positron lasers turned the vessel into scrap metal. I knew the stage launch of space vehicles from the satellites that my company sent into orbit. The problem was that I'd usually outsource that part of the equation to other companies back on Earth. I was basically working from scratch here. I was just throwing everything on it that I could think about with the hope that I covered all my bases. I basically wanted a fortress in space when I was done. We moved over to the command center near the launch pad. "Sir, mana batteries are done charging," Jarvis reported as he examined the screens in front of him. "Thank you. Begin countdown," I said with some excitement. 10, Jarvis began. The rocket began to glow from the intermix of technology and magic working together to ready the vehicle for takeoff. 4 large rockets around the bottom started to release smoke. I was already pumping liquid nitrogen and water into the site, as I wasn't sure how much sound this thing would actually put off. Ice coated a good 10 meters around the launch site. 9. Several automata and goblins sat around me in the command center at various stations, checking and double-checking the systems. They were on high alert, as I didn't want anything to go wrong. It might have been bad for their hearts, but they would only have to work at this high tension level for the first launch. 8, 7, 6. The rocket started to shake as the engines were primed. I turned my eyes from the screens to the rocket outside the window. It had a sleek design, with a silverish coloring from the materials that went into it. Built as a large tower structure, I planned for it to be the heart of the new station when it reached space. Thanks to Luella, I'd gained quite a bit of materials that helped with higher-level technology. Just the experiments that my current workers were doing would take a few weeks to finish. If I could have focused on it myself, it might have sped the process up. But with the recent invasion, I had too many distractions to fully devote my attention to it. 5, 4, 3, 2... The magic around the launch pad and the vehicle activated with a bright flash. Mana surged from all 3 cores, while the 4th, the steel spire core, only gave a trickle. All the runes activated as the engines flared. 1, Jarvis yelled. I slammed my hand down on the big red button in the center of the console. The rockets fired with one of the most beautiful flames I'd ever seen. The water managed to suppress the sound considerably, but the roar could still be heard for kilometers. There was almost too much power as the launch pad and the surrounding ground cracked from the crater that formed. With a boom, the rocket shot into the sky. I connected to the cameras on the outside of the...
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.